evening, folks, and welcome to this week's episode of the Pilot Review Show. I am Captain Blade J52, and I am joined by some of my merry cohorts. We have, this week, a resident teacher of our Kirby variety.
Howdy, folks.
And we also have our resident Neela, who is not yet at the Academy with us. Who I think is present.
He'll be here soon. But, I've heard a couple stories about Artie. I'm just not sure which one to believe.
I know, sadly, Artie won't be joining us tonight. Now, I've heard a couple of those stories, too.
I heard that Artie wanted to get a rush on because he knows the summer event's coming up soon. He wanted to get there before the rush on Ryza, and he had, turned himself into a tribble with his mobile emitter and was relaxing at the bar on one of the tables, and somebody traded out the tablecloth for Velcro, and he got stuck.
Interesting. Now, the other one that I had
What did you hear?
Now, the other one that I had heard is kind of similar to that. He was on the holodeck again, but what I was told is that he was testing the holodeck on the Enterprise because it's coming up on the end of its warranty, and something goes wrong, it gets stuck in an infinite loop, and he's stuck on the holodeck with 10,000 rainbow dashes. So... I don't know. I don't know which one to believe.
I think I like yours better.
Another one I heard was same thing as Chris heard, except instead of rainbow dashes, every single Care Bear.
Yeah.
I've heard 10,000 Care Bears, but yeah. So whatever the story is behind Artie, folks, sadly he won't be joining us this week. But anyways, we
will be getting to the bottom of it.
Yes. And there may or may not be tribble hair left in the holodeck. We can't say for certain on that. But anyways, folks, we've got a pretty decent little bit of stuff to get through this week, so let's go ahead and dive right in. First and foremost, we have our console patch notes for the 9th. This was just the other day. And it doesn't seem to be too awful much to it. But one of the big things is that resolved an issue where the temporal agent event was still running. Any new 23rd century captains created after this point will no longer be able to access the temporal agent reward system. So if you're somebody that's coming in later on, you're not going to be able to have access to those rewards. Kind of sucks, but can understand that and everything. But anyways, Neela, you're our console guy. What's some of your thoughts on this? The different notes, that is.
For me, it was more just the whole you're able to make more temple agent tunes even though the event officially ended, but they didn't shut it down right, or didn't shut it down all the way or something.
Yeah, it looks like you were... Go ahead.
Yeah, I know a bunch of people that were doing that, making captains.
Yep, so it looks like you were still able to get the little doohickey that goes in your inventory.
Yep.
Yeah, and now you can't. They turned that off. But if you did get it during this bug time, then nothing's going to happen. You're still going to be able to keep the tune that you made.
Yep. And currently active temporal agents will still be able to access the temporal reward system, so that is the good thing there. But
another thing that I like is the resolve issue where a number of powers would not appear in the radio menu.
Can definitely see that being a big deal and a big quality improvement, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It appears basically to just be some bug fixes, a few little odds and ends. Again, not really too much to this week's patch notes for the console guys, but we will have this in the notes for you guys to check out once the local recording goes up and everything. But anyways, moving along to our next big thing, we have the Crystalline Entity event for the console.
Mm-hmm. And
Yes. Go ahead.
like Chris was saying, we have the Crystalline Entity event on console. It's going from the 11th, which was this past Thursday, to June 1st at 10 a.m. Pacific. So all your Federation, Klingon, and Ramen captains can earn the crystal shards as long as their levels between level 50 to 60. Queue for either normal or advanced. You get one shard every 20 hours. 14 of them players can complete new event reputation for 50,000 dill, 250 marks of their choice, and universal kit module, the Crystalline Spike. The kit deploys a spike that forces enemies to attack it, and then detonates to damage those enemies around it. Then after you complete that, you can either save up the shards for next time, or do a bonus mission for 2,000 dill or 35 marks of your choice. And the kit module is a good way in like bug hunt or something with a lot of mobs. If you start getting swarmed, toss that down. It'll give you and your team a little bit of a breather. What's your guys' take on that?
Well, I've always liked the Crystalline Entity events. Give me a second here. I do think the reward is interesting. Where is it? Enemies to attack it. Oh yeah, this one. I do think the reward is interesting. It's a good ground little kit, and it does pull the threat and pull the enemies to it, which is nice respite for yourself and your team, especially in things like hive ground and other things where there are a lot of mobs out there. This is a nice one. I personally like the Crystalline Entity event. It's a very short mission, so you can get through it with a lot of tunes, because it only takes a short amount of time to complete. So, I mean, I've gone through it on 15 tunes without too much bother, and it's a good amount of dilithium ore and marks of your choice, obviously.
It's definitely pulled my tail out of the fire quite a few times, especially I always, whenever I'm farming dilithium, usually go to the Dyson ground map, and yeah, if you're getting a bunch of dudes trying to kill you at once, especially the little peons that don't have a shield, when you need to hack a console or something, yeah, that definitely helps. But if you're looking for a good ground kit, this is definitely something to consider going for our console players, if nothing else, but for the dilithium and everything, and of course the marks. But we will have this in the notes for you guys. But the next big thing we are coming up on is the R&D weekend.
Yes, the R&D weekend, and this is for consoles. So wow, we're just starting off all kinds of things with consoles this week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yep.
so consoles are having an R&D weekend, so that means you get extra points on your R&D schools projects. It also means that R&D packs will give out an extra 25% of the items they currently disperse for the duration of this event. So you may have noticed when you open R&D boxes, you get an extra little box in addition. So that's what's going on here. And let's see, and the nodes will also give out 10 dilithium ore and 2 extra R&D materials. So lots of good things going on for crafting for those that are collecting crafting materials. Yeah, or trying to level up their R&D schools. So good time for crafting. For crafting mats and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely a good time to go out there and farm that R&D, especially if you're looking to research a bunch of different stuff. But
User joined your channel.
and we also have a guest that just joined us in the channel, our resident Timberwolf.
Hello, penises and vaginas, and all other non-indigenous genitalia that you may or may not know what you are.
And there it
Hello,
is.
Timber.
Well, you gotta
God
include
damn it.
everybody.
God damn it.
And there it is. But anyway, where was we at?
We had just finished talking about the R&D weekend on consoles.
Okay, so yeah. Anyway, the
And
next big thing we have is an upgrade weekend for our PC players. But basically, if you're a PC player and of course you saved up some of that dilithium, now's your good chance to burn it and put it to good use, especially with the upgrade weekend going on right now. You get double the tech points on all of your upgrades versus what you would normally get. This does apply to Omega Tech upgrades and all other upgrades, except for the ones that come from the Keyring bundle, because those take it straight to 14 Epic right away. This is definitely a great time if you're looking to upgrade your weapons to get them to 14 Epic. Maybe you've got a new piece you want to throw some upgrades at. Whatever it is, now is a good time to invest. And this will be running until this Monday, the 15th. Actually started this Thursday. Quick remarks from our panel regarding the weekend.
well, definitely a good time to upgrade those items you've been waiting on. The yeah, your upgrades will be worth twice the tech points, so those Phoenix upgrades, whoo, they will be worth a heck of a lot. They'll apply a lot of tech points this weekend. So, good time to use them.
Absolutely. Any remarks from you, Neela?
Not so much. More so, I was just able to get another dual beam from Ultra up to Epic.
Sweet.
I just do those anymore when I feel like it, because I don't really need the extra stuff from Epic. It's nice, but it's not 100% I really need it.
I see, I see. I know for me personally, I'm going to be working with some Krieger Wave disruptors, just because I picked up a few while opening some boxes, and I thought, why not? See.
And when he says he got a few from opening boxes, he means when he opened the boxes, he got either crit D3 or crit D2 damage, or damage 3 or damage 2 crit D.
See, they hate it when I do that, and they've still not quite forgiven me for the weekend I popped 50 pedigree beams in one sitting, pretty much. Well, multiple sittings over the weekend, I should say. It's not entirely accurate, but still. Yeah, they've still not quite forgiven me for that. But
I can't tell. I'm a little bitter.
yeah, we can tell that. But definitely go out there, get your upgrade on, and maybe spend some of that extra dilithium you've got. It is definitely the best time to invest, and you'll get quite a bit of return for your investment. But moving along, the next big thing that we have that thankfully somebody was kind enough to post is one that we didn't have in the notes, and this is actually our PC patch notes. And there they go, they are pulled up finally. But pretty good little collection of notes, some bug fixes for certain. We also have a very big one, the Twin Tribulations queue now having an AFK penalty. That is a very big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Also some changes to the PvE UI, some of them pretty good, I think. But anything stand out to our panel?
Well, I know the one thing with the PvE UI, one thing that I saw and heard was that they didn't have the view cooldowns as they had in the previous UI. And we did notice that's been added back. So that was a big thing. Yay. And then, of course, some of the filter to display all PvE queues is something that I heard people wanted and is a nice little touch.
Which is pretty much the same how they have it on console, so they just kind of pulled it over.
So, yeah, we're playing with it, seeing what we like. So, and we'll definitely keep everybody posted.
Yeah, definitely some quality of life improvements to our PvE UI, everything, and I honestly think, now that I've had time to work with it, it's not too bad since I've been able to get used to it and everything. But, you know, one thing that, actually a couple of things that did stand out to me, and it looks like the stream is lagging for me. Oh, there it goes. But, resolved an issue that would cause protonic energy stabilizer modules to potentially damage the player when activating feedback pulse. And similarly, resolved an issue that caused the protonic energy stabilizer module to activate excessively when using tractor beam repulsors. So, definitely some very nasty bugs with those consoles.
Yes. Oh, and the damage of the heavy escort, hyper excited ion stream projector, try saying that 5 times fast, has been more than doubled. That's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
But I see the Titan's Rift, that if you all were fortunate enough to catch the dev stream with Bordicus regarding balance, I see the Titan's Rift change he mentioned made it into the patch this time around. So that is one big thing. The Titan's Rift now only drains current power in subsystems instead of also reducing subsystems' ability to regenerate. So that was one thing that he did mention, and that we might potentially see other balance passes sometime in the near future as well. But we will have the link to the patch notes for you guys in the notes once our local recording goes up. But
yeah, one thing I do have to say though, in the known issues, they can put down scramble fighters does not properly interact with the damage, immunity, or lockout, but they can't put in the fact that when you hit recall, they don't go into bloody hanger.
Well, it appears we've got another thing.
Well,
Well,
I mean,
no,
if they listed...
no, I'm pretty sure they know about this. They just don't really
If
care.
they listed all the known issues, I mean, we'd have 1,000 pages worth.
I'm not saying list all
Yeah,
the
no.
I'm not saying list all the known issues. I'm just saying list the one for return the fighters to the ship
Okay.
Yep.
instead of them trailing behind the ship.
And in case anybody is wondering, Neela is primarily a carrier player, so he does get very passionate about issues that affect his ships and everything, which
Yes, he
we
does.
totally understand.
Fleet Carfy all the way. Fleet Carfy all the way.
Exhibit A. But definitely,
There is no other ship except Carfy. Sorry.
except Keldon's, but anyway.
Alright, guys.
We will definitely have this stuff for you guys to check out. Definitely, as Neela's saying, if you do see an issue, please report it. That way they can hopefully get it fixed. But moving along to the next thing, we have the First Contact Day Writing Contest winners.
Alrighty. Is this me? think
I
that's
believe
me.
so.
Yes.
Okay. Alright, so they had the writing contest that they announced for First Contact Day. And so they had some very fantastic entries. Over 400 of them. Wow. That's quite a lot. So in third place, we have, and I'm going to butcher this name, I know it, Tia Nyezja. Tia walks away with a new Hollow Novelist title, a Phoenix Admiralty card, and a Phoenix prize pack. So in second place, Jason Wages. Jason wins the title and Admiralty card, and 3 Phoenix prize packs. And in first place, drumroll please, Matthew Calhoun. As our grand prize winner, Matthew gets the title, the card, and 5 Phoenix prize packs. So congratulations to all the winners, and make sure you read the winning stories below. Just click on each image to be taken to that story. So definitely check out this blog. You can see, you can link to the stories. Obviously, we're not going to read them because that would take forever. But yeah, go check them out. They're very interesting reads, and enjoy.
Yeah. Definitely, if you're somebody that enjoys reading a lot of lore, a lot of the RP stories and stuff, this is definitely something you're going to enjoy. I know I've...
And where's Artie when you need him?
Exactly. This would
I
be
know,
a perfect
right?
thing for Artie. But
It
I
would
guess
be.
he's still fighting his way through those rainbow dashes, or perhaps trying to get unstuck from, you know, from the
bar
Velcro on the
resin.
bar and everything.
Yep.
But anyways, we will have the link to this for you guys so you can check it out and everything. These stories were definitely interesting from the bits I was able to skim through before the show and everything. But our next big thing is we actually have the R&D sale that is going on at the moment.
Or
For the console, it is.
Well, that's you, Chris.
yeah, that's
Let's try not to hack up along there for a minute, folks.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me.
No
Yeah.
lung hacking allowed.
Yeah, sometimes my allergies act up whenever the weather changes as much as it has around here, but anyways, on the console, you guys will have a chance from May the 11th until May the 15th to win an Alachi Cheshire Cruiser from the R&D packs. Oh, excuse me. If I quit doing that now, I'd be good. But basically, anytime you open an R&D pack, you will either get 10 low-buy crystals, or you will get a Cheshire Cruiser, Dreadnought, whatever the heck it is, that thing. I can't words, apparently. But,
Oh, you'll get the thing out of the thing.
yes, what she said.
Yeah.
But in addition to this, the sale has also temporarily reduced the cost of the R&D packs, which are normally 300 Zen down to 240 Zen a pop. Now you can also get them in the 4-packs as well, which is normally 1,000 Zen, which is now 800 at the moment. But you'll receive it as 4 separate packs. Now, the big question that I will address really quickly that a lot of people always ask when these events roll around is what happens after the event. Now, after the event, you will not be able to purchase any more packs that will give you the Sheshar off of the C-store, that is. However, any packs that you didn't open will still have that chance to grant a Sheshar even after the event has ended. But
This also means that you will be able to buy the pack that grants the chance to get the Sheshar off of the exchange for energy credits.
yes. But any comments? Any further comments from the panel?
No, I think you said it all.
Yeah. Basically, even if you don't get the ship, if you are a crafter, it will still be a good thing to do.
Yes, it's also, because it's a guaranteed 10 Lobi, either 10 Lobi or the ship, it's a guaranteed at least you get 10 Lobi. I do believe it's one of the best sources of Lobi right now on the console.
Definitely, I would say the most consistent, for sure.
Yeah.
But, moving on, we have our Mirrors and Smoke Week 3 rewards.
Yep. Now, as he kind of said, this is Mirrors and Smoke Week 3 for PC. Last week we got the Kentari mass-produced missile launcher. So now this week we get the Kentari fortified personal shield. And then also the first time you play it on your account, you'll get either a choice of a tech upgrade or a spec point. The personal shield is designed to react to incoming threats by modulating some of its excessive power to boost the effects of plasma-based weaponry. So what's that's really nice, especially because of the plasma dots hitting like a truck.
I believe I hear a cat or a pup.
Yeah, you do. The cat is using a litter box, so sorry about that.
Oh, lordy. Gotta love cats.
That's what we're hearing. Okay.
The cat's like, I don't get. The cat's like, I don't give a fuck.
Yep.
Yeah, like I was saying, because that the shield helps against the plasma-based weaponry, it's very nice. Since when you get plasma, the plasma dots hit like a truck anymore. It's like they stack so hard, and you don't realize they're stacking that much. You will be like, why's my health down at like 15%? But additionally, when used with other Kentari design gear, the excessive power can be further modulated to protect the wearer. The effect is not guaranteed to occur, as that would not be cost effective. It also counts towards the excessive development set. So with a 2-piece, you get the Kentari armor and shield, you get 12.5% chance, plus temporary hit points for 60 seconds when you take damage, plus 20% plasma damage. Or if you get to have a 3-piece set on, you get Residium Reactive Deployment, which you call in a plasma Residium Reactant. The target area is supplied with a healthy coating of Residium Reactant stacks. Once applied, you can then trigger this power again to deploy a catalyst within the the hazardous area to deal additional damage based on the amount of residium reactant stacks. Oh my god, that is so many stack words.
Wow.
But what's your thought on this personal shield?
You're stacking the stack with stacks of stacks?
Why don't we just beam it up to the ship?
Beam it on up to the ship and ship it out of here.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, I'm glad one of you got that.
And in case you guys are wondering what we're referring to, it is a very old blooper whenever they were shooting an episode of Voyager, in which our resident first officer screwed up his line epically, and that was the result. But, this shield definitely looks interesting. I will probably give this set a try in the near future.
With if you have 3 pieces, you get that bombardment of plasma residium reactant. Basically, if you're not an engineer, you'll have a orbital strike, even if you don't have that kit module.
Yes, it does look interesting.
Or, and I wonder if it will be on a shared cooldown.
That's a
orbital
good
strike.
question.
Because if you're an
That's
engineer,
a very good question.
it shouldn't be because it's part of the set. But
Right.
It is,
My guess would be that it won't share a cooldown.
because if it doesn't, you can have your orbital strike and your plasma residium reactant bombardment go off, and just be a little bit of overkill.
Well, let's not forget about the Sompek lightning.
oh dear.
That too. and what's that other one? Is it
User
a
disconnected from your channel.
kit module or something that you can call down the polar on?
That's tactical only.
Oh, tactical.
Yeah, that's tack only.
Well, have
Polar
a,
on bombardment.
have a tactical in your team with you.
Oh god.
You guys both do the Sompac. Tac does the Polaron, and you do it. Your
Do
orbital
your
strike,
orbital strike.
and you have the orbital strike trait that to make it into a chasing.
The chaser.
Basically,
and-
what he's saying, folks, is you're going to rain hellfire and brimstone down on everything.
From above.
Yeah.
Yes.
Death
Oh,
from
we
above.
could talk forever about the orbital strike and the chasing beam, and like how is it that you get an orbital strike when you're on another ship?
All right.
Or as Ambassador Kale says, what is this laser beam? Or however he said that. Again, nothing but respect for Kale.
Or
Actually-
why doesn't it leave a hole in the ceilings?
Actually,
Anyway.
I do know how orbital strike shows up on your on the enemy ship. They just fire a phaser beam at that target.
Makes sense.
They just need to.
But
They just need to get a hole in the hull whenever you do that on the ship.
it's coming from above always, and it doesn't leave holes in the ceiling.
Because your ship goes over the enemy ship and sits over it. Because remember, before you beam on a ship, most of the time, you disable a ship before you can beam onto it.
All right, but we're getting sidetracked.
Sidetrack's fun.
And to think,
Yes, it
folks,
is.
this is what goes through our brains whenever we're not on air. And usually
know,
while
right?
we're on air, too.
We've discussed this kind of stuff many times.
But moving
But,
along
yeah.
to our next big thing
Moving on.
is your
Yes.
screenshot could be part of Star Trek Online.
Ooh. Yes. So. All right. So starting today for the next 2 weeks until the 26th, they're having a loading screen screenshot competition. So basically, here's how it works. You take a screenshot in game. There are details how to do that below. Okay, submit it directly to ambassadorkale@gmail.com. Taking a screenshot's actually pretty easy. Set up what you want to see. Type /scr and you'll see /screenshot. Click on that and you'll be able to find it in your folder.
Yeah,
Okay.
or take /screenshot_JPEG to make it a JPEG
Yes,
image.
if you wanted a JPEG. Correct. And then find it in your STO folder, and then you're going to send it to ambassadorkale@gmail.com. Okay, and then once the contest is over, a panel of cryptic artists will review the entries and decide the winners. Winners will be posted in a blog for all the world to see, and the top 3 will become new loading screens in the game. Alright, and they have some tips from the lead ship and UI artist Thomas Marone, and some official rules. So, 3 entries per person, so pick your best 3 shots. In other words, you can't send Ambassador Kale 1,000 screenshots. Only 3. All screenshots must be your own work. Screenshots can only contain assets from Star Trek Online. No, you can't bring your favorite My Little Pony shot into it. Okay? I don't care how much you like them. No.
Neela. I mean, what?
No, apparently that was Artie.
Shots. Oh,
Well, he
all
did
know.
get stuck in the holodeck with 10,000 rainbow dashes.
Shots. Those are Care Bears. Oh, wait. Thought we said Care Bears.
No, we said Rainbow
Anyway.
Dash.
Okay. These shots should be straight from the game. You can use them or record, but no editing in programs like Photoshop, please. So in other words, no Photoshop. Yes, I'm looking at you. You know who you are. Okay. Below you can find some examples of past winners. Go forth and grab some great screenshots. And that's pretty much it. So this will be in the notes of our YouTube. So check it out and click on the link and you can check it out for yourself. So there you go. Any comments?
I believe you summed it up pretty good.
I try.
But anyways, we will have that in the notes for you guys, so you can check that out. Definitely will be cool to see which shots end up taking the win for this go-around. But the next thing we have is our Foundry Spotlight, the Apex. And I believe this one is mine yet again.
Yep.
Basically, if you folks are not familiar with what the Foundry is, it's basically a mission editor type thing where you can create different content, different various missions, custom stuff within the game, whatnot, and you can also check out other player created missions. The one that they have this time around is the Alliance Exploration Initiative. But I sadly have not checked out this mission too much or anything, but this is definitely
I
something.
have not either.
It's definitely something they've been doing occasionally, more often than the Foundry Spotlights. But any comments from our panel regarding this?
Well, I have not had a chance to check it out, but it does. I do note that in the blog it says Apex is the winner of a contest called Alliance Exploration Initiative, held by a fan podcast, the Foundry Roundtable. So it's already won another contest, and now it's getting a spotlight. So I would say go check it out. It sounds like it might be interesting. You explore a derelict spaceship filled with mysterious technology. Boom, boom, boom. Anyway, so it sounds like it's going to be interesting.
But yeah.
And what she forgot to mention, she didn't keep going,
Not out loud.
was because while you explore the mysterious technology, you're being led somewhere across the galaxy to a brand new world, all the while following the story of two Starfleet officers with a dramatic and romantic past.
Aww.
So yeah, it looks like a very interesting story. We will definitely have this stuff in the notes for you guys, so maybe you can check that out if that's your thing. And you want to check out some good player-made content and everything. But, moving along for this evening, we have our budget build. And this go-around, decided to shake it up and do an Eclipse Intel. This is the Fleet Intel Cruiser, for those of you that may not be too familiar with the ship. But this was one of the first Intel ships that we had within the game. It does have access to the Intel powers that you can get within space. And the assumption here, as far as the Fleet Intel Cruiser, is that you've already picked up the C-Store version, you decided you liked the ship and wanted to upgrade to the Fleet. Now for our budget, we decided to go with a bare bones budget. Now, our bare bones budgets assume we have a maximum EC spending limit of 2 million EC. Everything else must be as free or cheap as totally possible. Our budget builds also assume that you've spent most of your resources to acquire the ship, or perhaps in the case of a lockbox ship, you have acquired it purely by accident by opening a random key. But as far as our equipment and everything goes for this particular ship, I decided to do a disruptor build this time around. And something out of the ordinary for me is I actually did include a torpedo this time around as something different, because I've seen a lot of folks mixing in a singular torpedo lately. For our forward weapons, we have one of the plasma disruptor hybrids. These come from the Past Imperfect mission if you are a Federation character. And I forget the exact name of the one for the KDF side. Kirby, help me out here. But,
No, brain's
Brain-farted.
dead.
But, anyways, rest assured you can get them on the KDF side too. It'll probably come to us later on somewhere as we're explaining this stuff.
Yep.
But
Probably.
as far as our other forward weapons go, we have the Nausicaan energy torpedo. This is a torpedo that does disruptor damage. We also have the Nausicaan disruptor beam, and also the Terran Task Force disruptor beam. Comes from the Terran reputation. As far as our aft weapons go, we have 3 more of the plasma disruptors, as well as the resonant disruptor array. Now, the resonant disruptor comes from the Blood of the Ancients mission, and is part of that old set. Then the Nausicaan stuff comes from the Echoes of Light mission. Now, we wanted to use those because of some of the advantages that you can get from them, namely their set bonuses. But as far as the shields, the engines, the warp core and stuff, we did go with the Soul Defense set. For that comes from the Midnight mission and is a great tanking set and a general survival set. Because the Soul Defense set does not come with a warp core, this is a warp core we've used quite a few times, and arguably, in our opinions, one of the best, if not the best, free warp cores you can get from missions, which is the Temporal Phase Overcharged Warp Core. This comes from the Butterfly mission. Now, if you're familiar with the Delta Recruitment event some years ago now, then you're probably familiar with a device called the Temporal Negotiator. And basically, the Temporal Negotiator, whenever you used it, it would cut your bridge officer cooldowns in half for the duration. and was a very nice cooldown thing whenever you needed it. Basically, the Temporal Phase Warp Core gives you that in the form of its Warp Core capacitor. So if you need extra cooldowns in a pinch, that is definitely a Warp Core to consider picking up. And the Soul Defense set obviously gives you a lot of defensive power. You get essentially the values of a free Neutronium armor in the form of its 2-set bonus, and the 3-set bonus gives you a very potent AoE heal that can affect not only you, but some of your allies as well, and also some of their fighter craft. As far as the devices go, this is one that we always like to recommend, which is the Subspace Field Modulator, a very nice little defensive ability that you can pick up from the Skirmish mission. Then for the engineering consoles, we decided to go with a Trillium deplating from Ragnarok. And we went with this one because it is a cross between a Neutronium console and a field generator console. So you get some armor values, and you also get a bit of shield capacity, which is always nice to have. We decided to go with the Structural Integrity Field Siphon, which is a very nice little console that actually comes with the C-Store version of the ship. And basically, it's a nice little thing that lets you steal some hull from the enemy, gives you basically some more defensive power in a nutshell. Then we have our simulated module from the Omega Reputation, or the Borg Rep. Gives some nice stats for your crit chance and severity. Then, as far as our money items go, we decided to invest in an EPS Flow Regulator Mark 12. This is a purple from the exchange. And also, another nice little console is a Conductive RCS Accelerator. This also came from the exchange. The total cost for these two consoles came to about $1.5 million. So, we didn't spend all of our budget, but we spent a good chunk of our $2 million EC. For our science consoles, we have our Nausicaan console, which is the final part of the 3-piece set. Now, the 3-piece set gives some nice abilities. One of the main things that it gives for the 3-piece is also the Disruptor Boost and also the Disruptor Net as the 2-set. Then we have our 0-point console as another nice little console that gives some decent crit chance and everything. As far as our tactical consoles go, we also have the final piece of our 2-piece of the Harmonic Resonance. This gives some Disruptor boost as well as a bit of Torpedo boost. And it also gives a slight bit of armor penetration to your weapons, which is very nice. Then also from the Echoes of Light, we have 3 of our Disruptor Induction Coil tactical consoles. So, pretty decent set of stuff. Like I say, I decided to mix it up a little with the torpedo and everything, but hopefully you guys can kind of see what I'm going with as far as some of the set bonuses and everything. But as far as our skills go, pretty basic build you've seen me use before. We picked up some stuff in the hull cap as well as regen, same thing with the shields. We also maxed out our energy weapon training. We picked up a bit in our EPS flow because power. We also have 1 point in our impulse expertise. Now I did pick up the control expertise and the drain expertise. That way we can sort of buff any drain abilities or control powers we might have. Then we also have the targeting expertise maxed out to offset some of the penalty to abilities like Fall and also Cannon Scatter Volley, potentially. We also have our defensive power maxed out. That way we get some more defense value. We also picked up the 3 points in the ablative thing, so we get some more defense value yet again. Then we also have our improved shield hardness because, damage negation. Then we also picked up the Advanced Weapon Amplification, which will be 40% crit severity for free. I know the builder is currently saying 20%, however, once the new systems came into place, then I was reading something in the chat there for a moment. But as far as the crit severity goes, the one thing they have not done is updated that. Whenever they brought us into Season 13, this value was actually doubled from your skill tree. Then the weapon specialization was actually lowered by about 2%, but a free 4% crit chance, that's still pretty decent and everything. But for other captain skills, we have the defensive and offensive to get a little bit of extra power to our subsystems. We also have 2 points in our exotic particle gens, because we never know when we might end up using a grav well or something on the character, or a similar type of exotic damage ability. We also maxed out our long-range targeting sensors, and also our shield penetration. Now, I personally prefer this one versus the hull pin, because, at least for the way I like to play, I think this one gives me more value, letting damage bleed through the shields before they even drop. Everything. Kirby prefers the hull pin. There is no right or wrong answer to this. It's simply a matter of which one you prefer. Both will actually work rather well. But
yes, they will.
As far as our Admiral skills, we did pick up a point in our Warp Core potential, and also I did decide to pick up the Shield Mastery and Shield Absorption, because it can negate some critical hits occasionally, which can save our lives and everything. And I do see a screenshot linked to us earlier by a person in chat. Everything. I will definitely be sure to check that out. Everything. But the next big thing, as far as our skills go, we have, and I did mix this up a little bit from what I traditionally do, is we decided to go with Pilot for our primary, mainly for the immunities and nice defensive powers it gives. And I did swap out Strategist for the Intelligence secondary. This is something different that I wanted to do, and this is actually what I used to run before the Strategist actually came out. But anyways, that's our skills and whatnot with that sort of thing. Now, as far as our bridge officer powers, I decided to go with a Tactical Team 1 for our attack seat, a Attack Pattern Beta, and also a Beamfire at Will 3. Then as far as our Lieutenant Commander Engineering seat goes, we decided to go with an Engineering Team, a Reverse Shield Polarity, and a Warp Bubble 2. Now, I know the builder says that's Warp Bubble 3, but that should actually be a Warp Bubble 2. I don't know why they've not corrected that. But the Warp Bubble you actually get from the Delta Flight mission, and is a nice AoE damage reducer. As long as you're within 4 kilometers of an enemy, there is no hard upper limit that I've seen to this yet as to how many enemies it can hit, and it can essentially cut through damage in half. So if you're fighting 20 ships, you hit this ability, you're essentially only fighting 10 ships for the duration. But as far as our Commander Engineering / Intel goes, we did pick up a couple of Intel powers here. We ran a Duplicate Engineering Team for the defensive value. Then we, for one of our other engineering powers, picked up an Emergency to Weapons 3. As far as our Intel powers go, we did use Override Subsystem Safeties 2. It is still a very nice power to have, and a very nice power boost when you need it. And we did want to go with the Surgical Strikes as something else nice. It's still a very potent power, especially with some of the changes and everything to it, as far as I think, anyway. And gives you nice single target damage. For our Lieutenant Science seat, or Lieutenant Science / Intel, we went with a Science Team 1, gives a little bit of shield regen to us, as well as purging certain debuffs, such as the subnucleonic effects. And we also have our Hazard Emitters 2. And then finally, for our Ensign Universal, we went with a Torpedo Spread 1. Everything. So that is one thing that we did have there. But take a quick look at our traits. As far as our traits go, we have the accurate trait. This helps to further offset some of the accuracy penalty. Then we also have the beam barrage and beam training. Then we also have elusive for the defensive value. And we also have the give your all. Now the beam barrage and give your all, the reason we use those is we like to assume that you're going to level at least 1, possibly 2 R&D schools as you're bringing your character up as well. Everything, that way you can have access to some of the crafting gear as well as maybe sell some of it for EC. Then I do have Grace Under Fire slotted. This is mainly because the builder always defaults to an engineer character. If you're not an engineering character, then you'll just swap out for your career-specific trait. Then we also have the Nanite Repair Matrix, which is a very nice one to have. This also comes from the Midnight Mission, so this is the same mission you'll get your Soul Defense set from. Then we also have Point Blank Shot from the House Peg mission, and also the Fleet Coordinator, because extra free damage, and why not? For our Starship traits, we have the Battle Ready trait. This is a fairly decent little ability, and this actually comes with the C-Store version of the ship. Then the Best Defense is a nice little buff to your attack patterns. That also comes from the House Peg mission. Then we have our Predictive Algorithms that comes from our Intel Secondary. And we also have the Pedal to the Metal, which comes from Pilot. So, pretty decent traits. For our Space Reps, we're going to use the Advanced Targeting Systems for the free crit severity. I like to use Chrono Capacitor Array for the BOF cooldowns. Then we have Precision for the crit hit chance. And then this one, I used Advanced Engines. If you want a little bit more offensive power, you could go with the Aux Power Offensive as one possibility. This was just something I decided to put and everything to help the cruiser move a little better. Then for our active reputations, we have Anti-Time Entanglement Singularity, which is still a fairly decent power in Season 13. Not nearly as potent as it was before, but still very useful, I think. Then we have the Biomolecular Shield Generator. This is a very potent defensive power whenever you use it. Then we also have the Quantum Singularity Manipulation, which is a very nice power to have, especially if you rely on a lot of science abilities. Then the final power that I slotted was the Deploy Sensor Interference Platform. This is a very nice little thing. If you need something to taunt off of you for a couple seconds, this may buy you a little bit of time. Now, as always, a combo that myself and Kirby like to point out, if you're going to use your Anti-Time Entanglement Singularity, always pop your Quantum Singularity Manipulation first, and then follow up with your Anti-Time Entanglement, as you'll get a lot more damage out of it that way.
Yes.
But that's essentially what I'm doing. Hopefully you guys can kind of see where I'm going with the set bonuses and everything, and with the skills. But, any comments, thoughts from our panel on this week's build?
No, I think it looks good.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. But oh no, I remember. I'm just happy. More love with the better praise.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this was one of the first Tier 6 ships I actually owned. This was kind of spur of the moment, deciding to do this particular ship. But, like I say, if you guys have any questions about this particular build and everything, then feel free to let us know. As far as the total costs and everything for the ship, you'd be surprised that it actually didn't cost as much as I thought it would. Our major costs were the Terran Beam, the Assimilated Module, and the 0-point console. Those cost about 15k to lithium a pop, so you're looking at a total of 45k to lithium and about 1.5 million EC. So we still have 500,000 EC left over. Total build time is approximately 6 days, and that is purely due to dilithium refinement, or the dilithium refinement limit. I should have said limit in the build instead of cost. But we did include the notes so you can see exactly where to get everything and whatnot. But if you have any questions about why I have certain things set up the way I do on the ship, or if you have a budget build that you'd like us to do, feel free to submit your ship and your parameters, and we'll see what we can't do for you. But moving along to our bugs corner, I do have a couple of little bitty things that I can discuss with you guys this week a little bit. A couple of them brought to my attention by Kirby, actually. Whatnot. Now, one of which, she was playing some old episodes and whatnot, and
Yes,
she came
I
to
was.
the bringing down the house, where Bavin was standing up while dead.
Yes. It was quite confusing because I was trying to figure out, like, where he was because he was supposed to be on the ground dead, and I hadn't played the episode in a long while, and yeah.
And then finally, this is one I've seen a little bit before, I thought had actually been fixed, and the spin the wheel mission not progressing while in a team. So, if you are seeing this one, I know I've seen it a little bit before, should have been fixed, but if you're seeing this, let us know. You know, post on the forums for the devs to see. Feel free to, you know, hit up myself or one of the other bug hunters or one of these guys, and they'll get the message to me, and I'll submit it to the devs for you guys. But that's
There
one of
was
the big
one.
ones. Oh, go ahead.
There was one I think you forgot when we talked about the everything old is new. When you go to talk to McCoy, if he's moving and moves out of your range while you've got the window up, you will then, after that, you will not be able to interact with anything.
Yes, that is right. That's actually a big one I had forgot about.
Yeah.
Glad you actually reminded me of that one. So, as Kirby's saying, if you are seeing that, that's a very huge thing that could potentially prevent you from completing the mission. I think we figured out the workaround was to beam up and back down, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So,
yeah, if you go back up, you hit the abort button or the beam up button, and it'll put you down right at the point where you start talking to Bones. So you don't have to go through the whole thing again, thankfully. But yeah.
So yeah, definitely let us know if you see something like that, especially major game breaking stuff. But that is one of the big things. Then this is actually one for my Intel Sovereign owners and everything that was brought to my attention a while back, actually. And what I was told is that when you activate the console on the Intel Sovereign, it's giving you the visuals to indicate that you're getting the buffs, but it's not actually granting the buffs. So, if you do see major bugs like this, please report it, everything. Feel free to go onto the forums and just say, hey, you know, I'm seeing this bug, this is, you know, steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many it is, to reproduce it. If you can get screenshots and video, that's better. But, yeah. That's pretty much all I've got for the bugs corner this week. Everything. I did have some stuff that I'm still continuing to test. In fact, some stuff that myself and Kirby and crew will probably test this week as well.
Yep.
But moving along to our final segment of the evening, we have Teacher's Corner. And what have you got for us this week?
Yes. So this week I've got the Fleet Research Lab projects. These are actually kind of helpful. So there's a guy you can talk to in your Fleet Research Lab, and he gives you an extra project. It's worth 5,000 of the reputation points for this whichever school you choose, because there are multiple schools. You also get some extra things like 1200 dill and some higher level crafting mats, etc., etc. But yeah, take a look through it. I show you exactly where to go, who to talk to, all that kind of stuff. Very helpful when you're just starting out in crafting.
But yeah. It's definitely a very useful thing. Definitely a project I forget about myself quite a bit, actually. But,
I know, right?
any comments, Neela?
I think we just woke Neela up. There
No.
was drool on his desk, you know.
No. I'm.
There he's trying to hack into the holodeck to rescue Artie from all the rainbow dashes.
I know, right? There you go.
Yeah, no, he's on his own. I'm not touching. I'm not touching with a 10-foot pole.
And thrown under the bus. Ouch.
Wow. Don't worry, Artie. I'm coming to save you.
No, but what I found from that little, you talking about the fleet R&D and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the fleet R&D projects. So I showed in my latest video how to, where to go, who to talk to, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, basically, me personally, I found those to be a little better when you are what's that project for the lab, the double dill, because occasionally occasionally if you crit one of the R&D ones, you'll get a little bit of dill, not a lot, but sometimes you'll get a little bit of dill.
Well, the one I showed gives 1200 dill every time.
Mm.
So.
But with that bonus, you'll get bonus that.
And Jazz Band says, Artie's at a My Little Pony convention? Well,
when I said I was coming to save Artie, my husband said, "No, don't." So.
Well, you see, Jazz, the story that we were told, one of the stories about why Artie wasn't here, is that he was testing the holodecks for the Enterprise, because, their warranty's about to run out and all that good stuff. And essentially, it got stuck in an infinite feedback loop, and now he's stuck in there with 10,000 copies of Rainbow Dash. So yeah, that's what we're going with. But anyways, folks, that's pretty much our show for this week. We hope you've enjoyed our show. Hope you find the information to be of some use and everything. We will have everything we've discussed up in the notes, everything, once our local recording goes up. But as always, a shout out to our fine friends over at the Temporal Armada. Go check those folks out on their radio station and everything, and throw some support their way. But also, we are still planning to head out to Las Vegas for the convention. And we do have a GoFundMe if you'd like to support PRS for making it out to Las Vegas. This goes towards some of the expenses for the show and everything, such as and apparently it logged me out of the game, but if you'd like to help out with some of the expenses, this covers some of the internet, the electricity and everything that we will need to get out there, even if all you can do is just spreading the word for us and everything. Any and all help is greatly appreciated, because without our viewers and listeners out there, we wouldn't even have a show. So if you'd like to see more impromptu interviews, more fun shenanigans and everything directly from the convention floor and everything, then feel free to throw some support our way. everything. We might be able to get some more interviews this year. Maybe another random interview with Garrett Wong, like Kirby was able to.
Yeah, maybe.
Yep, able to round up for us. But always, folks, if you'd like us to help you improve your piloting as well, feel free to submit that to us or any budget builder requests, and we will do what we can to help you guys out. But as always, folks, I am Captain Blade J52, and this is the Pilot Review Show, and we are warping out of here.
Alonzi.
Latest.